Hey, what up, people? I just want to do a quick little vid on the new patch that recently dropped, the hotfix, that basically dropped a ton of nerfs and Deep Archimedea. There's four main things to go over. Dante nerfs, the Nezha augment nerf, the CC to Overguard enemy nerf that was apparently actually dropped the patch before and just undocumented, and of course Deep Archimedea, which was the only positive change. If it weren't for that one thing, this patch would be absolutely tragic. Thankfully, they did hotfix directly after that and walked back some of the Dante nerfs, but he's still overall quite nerfed. And the main issue that everyone is up in arms about, including me, is that there's now a line of sight check on Tragedy. Before, as long as it was within AoE, it would work. And now it doesn't always work, but as you can see from that, I found it's actually pretty forgiving line of sight wise. It still hit a bunch of those enemies, and clearly they weren't actually visible, and that's true for a lot of this. These are not actually visible, but it still hits a lot of them. So I found it's pretty forgiving. Before the walking back nerfs patch that came directly after it, 35.5.4 specifically. The line of sight checks were terrible and almost nothing was getting hit. But now it's a lot better. That being said, it still fucks up this whole gameplay loop of, tag people with 3 and then pop them with 4, which is really lame. If you're tagged with 3, I feel like this should work no matter where I'm at, because they're still tagged with his 3. I find that very annoying. Personally, I am definitely in favor of team walk back the line of sight nerf change, because this sucks ass. But if they need to compromise, I would propose, personally, keeping track of enemies he has tagged with his 3 and then making sure those ignore the check. Because really the main thing the nerfs fucked up is he just kind of feels defunctive now, because his gameplay loop is just tag people with 3 and then pop them with 4, which still works, but you have to keep them in the line of sight, which is pretty fucking annoying. It feels a lot better to just tag people and then be wherever and pop your 4 and they're all dead. Or, at least heavily damaged. That felt a lot better, but I mean, I kind of understand it because his range on this is absolutely insane. I think it's 80-something meters when it's all buffed up. Yeah, it's just shy 80 meters, 265 range, which isn't even maximum. So I get how if an enemy's getting tickled by your teammate 80 meters away from you, it's a little BM to just be boop, and then they all just fucking die because they were getting tickled. So even that hit line of sight, which is kind of insane. Actually, never mind. I think I actually can't see them here from here. Yeah, never mind. But I think in general the kit is now defunctive thing really needs to be looked at. But I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. Everyone is very upset about the Dante nerfs. The other nerfs that there's actually some changes too. I should mention they also nerfed his Overguard gain. It was base 5,000. They nerfed it to 2,000, then walked it back to 3,000, which I don't really get personally because they didn't change the Overguard cap, so it just means you have to spam more, which is pretty annoying. Just, I guess, means you cast speed and energy economy is even better, which actually kind of just buffs my build a little bit. I mean, not buffs, but it makes it seem more correct, because Matter Eye cast speed is really helpful, along with 175% efficiency. You can check my old video on that. It's still pretty good, it's just the nerfs hurt a lot. However, with the Overguard, they also buffed how much you gain on kill, so that's nice. While the buff is up, that is. And they also buffed the book damage, Wood Warden, from being 30% to 50%. Oh, that was the wrong move. And that's pretty nice. It was pretty useless before, so that's good. They also did the same thing where they nerfed and then walked back the nerf for the birds. And I'm glad they walked that back. The funny part was they're oh, it's an undocumented change that they're not supposed to do extra status damage, but it's literally in the tooltip from launch. It always has been. Very silly. Also, one thing I didn't note in my last video is these are actually better than I thought they were. They amplify the shit out of your slash procs too, so worth keeping up for sure. Given they're also invincible and deal damage and draw aggro, there's really no reason you would not want to have them up. I just also don't really think it's necessary, given my nukes are already strong enough, but it's nice to have. Anyway, so those are the Dante nerfs. The main other one is, of course, the Nezha nerf. Let's see here. Now, in my last video, I showed how you could walk all the way to the back and get everyone but the last row of enemies. But let me kill them so they're in nice position. But there's now been a range nerf on Nezha's 4, and oh, look, I got nobody. Literally nobody. That's unfortunate. They cut his range in half for the new augment. Where is it? 50%. Base ability range reduced by 50%. So it's not additive, you lose 50% range, it's multiplicative 50% range. And if you know anything about math, that also means that cuts your area of effect to an actual quarter of what it was. Because pi r squared, range squared. Like if your range before was 10 meters, it would have gotten basically 100 meters pi area. And now if it's 5 meters, it would get 25 meters pi area. And, you know, 25 is a quarter of 100. So, and that math always works out regardless. So it's literally a quarter of the area it used to cover. And technically, if we're talking volume, I think it's 87.5 because that gets cubed. It's real bad. You lost a ton of range with this. And now with it literally maxed out, the range is... does it say that? Okay, I was looking at range for some reason. Radius is 26.6. So yeah, just slightly over 25 meters. Which is not good. It's really not impressive. Yeah, let me demo it a little bit. Let's try at the top of the stairs here. I think we'll still get most of them. No, only got the first 3 rows. Well, it's a circle, so we didn't get the guys on the edges. But yeah, it's clearly a lot worse than it used to be. And that's, you know, it's still kind of range, because like it'll still kill everyone it's tapping, you know, but I'm not even gonna bother shooting it because it's the whole boar thing. You've seen it in my other video, but need I remind you that melee influence is 20 meters. I don't remember if I have it on this guy. Oh, right. It would be on the weapon anyway. It's on every one of these. Melee influence is 20 meters. That's a 20 meter AoE where it just murders everybody, and that applies from the edge of a weapon's radius. So, like, the Zorus actually outranges Nezha's E now, or Nezha's 4 now. It's really stupid. But the Zorus doesn't do nearly as much damage, so there's that. But yeah, put it all together, I would say that is a huge over nerf. Like, it's just way too low a range now. It's really not worth using, if you ask me. Like, I don't know, it's better than base Nezha, maybe? I don't know. It's 26.6 just does not excite, you know? Like, and then you compare to like Gara, who has like a 40 meter radius AoE that just also affects Eximus. I don't get the point, man. Like, sure, I'm fine with it getting nerfed, honestly, because 53 meters was a little silly. Like, 53 meters to just completely, like, weapon scaling nuke everybody, aside from CC immune enemies, which is also a little annoying. That was a little overpowered, I think, I agree, you know, but 50%? That's nuts. Like, 75, 70% would have been okay, you know, 80 even, but 50 is just, like, dumpster. Oh, no. I'm just not going to put this guy on anymore. This is like literally the only reason I'd have to use Nezha, because also hot take, I think Nezha's still just fast bad Rhino. Maybe I'll make a video on that, because apparently people disagree with me. But anyway, the final thing that got nerfed is, let's see, do I have a mag build here? No. Let's just put on my simulacrum build. The final thing that got nerfed is CC to Overguard enemies, because there were like a few edge cases where you could still CC Overguard enemies, and this new change deleted that. So the reason I'm putting on this mag build is because I used Breach Surge for all my circuit builds, pretty much, because of that effect. Overguard enemies will pretty much just one-shot all your defense objectives once the level scaling gets out of hand. Not only that, well, they kind of walk back the damage, thankfully, on the defense objectives, so those don't get instantly one-shot usually, but you should see the extractors for the excavation missions. Oh my god, they get immediately destroyed. So having some way of CCing Overguard enemies is really, really helpful, and there were a bunch of different ways of doing it. This one was the best one. They also had like Mace's muzzle flash, Rhino's stomp work, there was a bunch of different things, but they patched out all of the edge cases, and that's pretty annoying. Like, I'm kind of on board with a general like idea that CC immune should be CC immune, so it's like conceptually I'm not upset, but also conceptually, should we even really be having CC immune enemies regularly appearing in the game? It seems like CC was already devalued before they introduced the change to Eximus, and they're just doubling down on CC being bad. I really don't get the point, quite frankly. They basically just removed counterplay. I don't get it. The only thing you can do to overguard enemies is to damage them until the overguard is gone now. Otherwise, they don't give a fuck what you do. And it's really stupid. I mean, that being said, there are still a few tiny, like, CC loopholes. Like, if you put cold procs on an Eximus, it will slow them still. I think there's a couple other little tiny things like that. I think it's mostly just status effects. But for the most part, yeah, you can't really do anything anymore. Like, yeah, Frost's Ice Wave Impedance Augment, which was the only reason to ever use Ice Wave, because it actually slowed Eximus overguard enemies. That doesn't work anymore. So, yep, GG counterplay. Hopefully they do something to give CC a little, throw them a bone, because, oh man, that sucks. I hate how it just nuked my circuit builds. They had a really good circuit change recently where it finally actually saves your progress, even if you, like, fail around, and it'll just give you all the rewards up until the round you failed, as opposed to failing the entire run, which allows you to actually push the circuit as far as you can go. But that was a little short-lived in my book, because for most builds, they can't push it that far anymore, because I lost my breach surge that I was relying on. And that's real sad. Okay, that's it for the nerfs. My general opinion on all of them is they all suck ass, and they need to be walked back at least somewhat. Maybe not the CC one, but like do something to throw them a bone. Change that a little bit. The Nezha nerf was reasonable, but not in the numbers. It needs less of a nerf number-wise. And the Dante line of sight shit is just, it's busted. They really need to do something about that. Dante's still generally a good frame, I'll say. I used him recently in like a survival that was Steel Path, and I was like, it's not bad. But the line of sight shit really hurts. Okay, anyway, the last thing is Deep Archimedea, and I'm just gonna teleport over there now with the magic of video editing. So, 1 second. Alright, I'm here at the Deep Archimedea mission prep screen, so I'll quickly explain what the fuck this is. It's a 3-mission sequence where you have to use the same loadout for the entire thing. It's supposed to be a lot harder than most content, and there's like all those different, oh, you're not allowed to die kind of mechanics. There's a lot that goes into it in team play, but I didn't even bother with any of that. I just did it solo, so I don't really know. Where there's like void angels you have to kill if like a guy dies, and I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but I didn't bother with any of that. I just did it solo. You don't have to. They do recommend you do it in a team, but you don't have to. Basically, yeah, it's a 3-mission sequence, and you get rewards for completing it, but only if you turn on these like modifiers or use the loadout they've given you. That adds points to this meter here, and if you get enough points, you get the rewards shown after actually completing the mission. Now, while they say you can keep like replaying it, there's no reason you would want to, because the points do not accumulate. They're just off of one run. So you have to do like one run with a bunch of things enabled, restrictions enabled, in order to actually get all the points you want. Now, that being said, what is shown here is just what you get by default, because there's an Elite Archimedea you can unlock, which significantly increases the rewards all the way down to here. And those are pretty good. And I neglected to mention so far, it takes 2 Netracell search pulses to do this, to unlock this, which means you'll do 2 less Netracells a week, but never fear, you get way more rewards than Netracells. Literally just these 2 alone, if you just get to 10, you'll break even with the search pulses. Like, it's, this one's like doing a Netracell, this one's like doing a Netracell, and then the rewards only get better from there. I mean, technically there's some shit rewards in there, like a Lanthorn and Phosphor, but I mean, ultimately, the weekly rewards, you get a gold cache, and a platinum cache, which gives even a higher chance for Tau Forge Archon shards, and this one guarantees either a Tau Forge or a legendary melee arcane. I kind of wish they were only shards. I really don't give a shit about the arcanes, quite frankly, but whatever. That's beggars can't be choosers. And the last one here is just a gimme, thankfully. Unfortunately, to unlock Elite Archimedea, you have to get all 25 points here, which means turning on all 4 restrictions and using all 4 loadout restrictions, which is really annoying, because that'll put you a total of 27 points. If you take one off, you'll be at 24, which I think is kind of cringe, given when you actually turn on Elite Archimedea, you don't have to get the max 1 in order to get max weekly rewards. Like, this is kind of just a whatever reward. Like, 50 Phosphor is very whatever. You can get that very quickly. It is not weekly limited. So the 37 is whatever. And in fact, I feel like I should very much point that out, because the main thing I've been seeing a lot of complaints about is the whole RNG loadout thing. Personally, my take, I'm a big fan of the RNG loadout thing. Like, this actually breaks you out of your comfort zone and like makes you choose things you wouldn't always. Like my Netracell build, I found a build and I just use that every time. In fact, I think I'll make a video on it because it's pretty good. But this actually gets you to mix things up and try things. Like when Circuit first came out, I was like, oh my god, I actually have a reason to build out my inventory. Like my arsenal was just neglected completely, and now I have a reason to try different weapons and frames, and it was sick. And same goes for this. And big important reason I was like connecting it to this is if you're really mad about getting all these different RNG things, you're like, oh, I can't get all the rewards because my RNG is shit and all these frames and weapons are unusable. You can take one of your choice. Only, like, if you have all 4 of these enabled, one of these is a gimme. And technically, you could do the same for this. Like, you turn off energy exhaustion if that's really annoying to you, because that energy exhaustion is fucking terrible. I will admit that. You kind of have to build the hell around it. But, like, if you just got, like, good rolls here, you could just turn off energy exhaustion. And if you didn't get good rolls, you just, like, bring Mesa or something. Like, I had Revenant when I was doing mine, and I brought a Torrid, and it was great. That being said, also, the reason you don't see Revenant here, even though it's a weekly thing, and you should, is because there was a bug where the loadouts here would refresh daily. And I was really surprised to see that a lot of people thought that was intentional, because clearly it's supposed to be a weekly thing, and conditions like very obviously have a refresh timer here, which is obviously more than a day. So I mean, I'm a little surprised people are up in arms about that, especially given, like I said, you don't have to do every single thing here once you unlock Elite Archimedea. But like I said, the annoying thing is you do have to do it to initially unlock Elite Archimedea. You have to turn on everything, which is pretty lame. I think they should change that, because just to, if anything, just to give parity with Elite Archimedea, and also because literally unlocking Elite Archimedea is harder than Elite Archimedea. I didn't even mention the difference. As you can see, it adds a risk variable to all these missions, which just makes it slightly harder. Like, oh, all enemies have Overguard equal to 50% of their max health, whereas before they did not. Which I didn't even really notice, to be quite honest. But it also increases enemy levels as well, as you can see here. It goes from 250 to 275 to 375 to Forerunner, so that's a 125 level gain. But it also doesn't give steel path modifiers, I might add. It does, I think it like increases their shields and percentage or something too. I forget. There's something that showed somewhere. Maybe here. Empower, yeah, health and shields increased by 100%, an additional 50 for each squad member. And increased XMS chance. But I don't think, yeah, Elite doesn't change that at all. It doesn't turn it to steel path. So, I don't know, it's not actually any harder. Personally, I found it way easier because I was able to take my Torrid along, and I realized the energy exhaustion I had to build around more. So I had way more energy in a Torrid, and I just fucking breezed through the thing. So, I don't know. Overall, I'm quite positive on the thing. I enjoy doing the missions. The rewards are great. I didn't even mention what I got. I got 3 Tau Forged and 2 normal shards from running this. I was very pleased with that. I was like, wow, that's for the value of 2 Netrocells, which normally I get like an average of, I don't know, like 1 shard and maybe a Tau Forge, probably another shard. If I'm unlucky, a melee arcane adapter. I will say the melee arcane adapters are still in these pools, which is kind of cringe, but thankfully, never mind. I thought they took them out of these pools. You have better chance of not getting that than these, and you definitely don't have them in this, thankfully. But yeah, it's I would say, yeah, very rewarding. You get basically 3 extra Netrocells that are boosted rewards out of it, and like very good rewards. So I'm happy with it. Overall, I think it's fun. I don't think it's that hard. That being said, we only have ever had the, like, everyone has this, although it's all, I have noticed everyone has different loadouts. It seems to be individualized, your loadouts. However, these parameters here and these parameters here seem to be universal. I haven't seen anyone else having different loadout things than these, and that seems kind of odd to me. I kind of wish it was just same loadout for everyone everywhere, or everyone got a different randomized. I guess these ones would make sense to randomize because these are individualized anyway. They don't affect the team, but these ones are like a matchmaking queue thing. So it makes sense to keep all these the same, but I don't really know why they kept all these the same. I don't know. Okay, anyway, that's it. That's everything about the patch. I will say, yeah, final note, stop whining about having to do full RNG loadout for this phosphor, because it does not matter. All you need is this one. You can just bring a Mesa or something, like, you'll be fine. Alright, I want to make that clear. It's not that big a deal. The only annoying thing is actually unlocking Elite in the first place, because that you do actually have to enable everything. That's a one-time thing, and hopefully the devs will patch it. It's not a big deal. Alright, that was a whole lot of rambling about the patches. I just kind of wanted to do a video on it before moving on. And that's it. GG.
The speech was too much.
It was.